Okay, so let's get right into it. Mohammed's first, as usual. What's up, Mohammed? He got in here right away. So he says, hey, guys, what's the best way to let a prospect know that I'm talking to multiple people and I'm only choosing one? Do I just put it bluntly? You either accept this price or go to your competitor. Here's what happened. I might be able to sell one guy on Thursday after a few weeks of correspondence, but the day after I'm talking to his competitor and I want to see what comes of that. In the event that the Thursday guy agrees, how can I tell him I'm also waiting for the Friday guy? The Friday seems like the better client, but the Thursday guy is at a later stage of the selling process. I don't want the Thursday guy to get offended if I say I have to wait till the other guy makes his offer. Can I have my cake and eat it too? Yeah, that's kind of tricky. I mean, as far as telling people that you're speaking with that this offer's been made to their competitors or to other people in that, their area and they're in that same industry, I have no problem with doing that. In fact, I work with contractors mostly, and that they respond well to that. So I make it a point to point that out, usually. Okay. So, but as far as what you're talking about, like with you've got, let's see, on Thursday, one guy on Thursday, I might be able to sell the one guy on Thursday. I would make the proposal and then, if he makes a decision right there on the spot, I don't know what to tell you about that other than, you'd have to be honest with him. I mean, if you really want to wait until Friday, I'm not sure that I would do that. I might make the proposal to him on Friday or on Thursday and present the proposal to him and then see if he makes a decision on the spot. I wouldn't push for a decision on the spot if I wanted to also make the proposal on Friday to the other person. So I wouldn't push for a close on Thursday. I might present the proposal, but not push for a close. However, if he decides to accept your offer on Thursday, then you would, in my opinion, you have to be honest at that point. If you want to at least make the proposal on Friday and choose the better of the two. Now you run the risk of pissing him off. Don't get me wrong. But in my opinion, honesty is always the best policy in this kind of stuff. Unless you are just willing to accept, if he accepts your proposal on Thursday, just accept that as, done, the final consequence. That's really up to you. I'd love to hear what my partners have to say about it. But personally with me, I would make the proposal on Thursday. Chances are he's not, at least in my experience, a lot of the times when I make a proposal, it takes the person that I've pitched it to, at least 24 hours to make a decision. And typically at that point, I'll put on it, like, hey, this offer is only good for the next 72 hours. And that's typically when I will present or make a comment about that same offer being presented to others. Does that make sense? So usually when I present a proposal, I will tell somebody at the end of it that, like, hey, listen, this offer is good for the next 72 hours or the next 3 business days or whatever it may be, 5 days, whatever you're comfortable with. But then I say, but keep in mind, I've also made this same proposal or presented the same proposal to, and I'll list the competitors that I even offered it to sometimes, because then it's real to them because they recognize the competitors' names. And usually that's if I want to get them to make a decision rather quickly. I'll push that. But in your case, I might not do that. I might just say, look, here's the proposal. Take a day to think about it and get back with me tomorrow afternoon by 5 p.m. or something like that. And that might buy you some time. But if he says right off the bat, yeah, let's go for it, then you either have to be honest about like, all right, well, I'm going to hold off on signing you until after tomorrow, or you just accept that and then cancel on the other guy the following day. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
I see a problem with him possibly losing both. He tells the Thursday guy, okay, look, think it over, get back to me by Thursday afternoon before close of business, and we'll go from there so he can talk to the Friday guy. Now the Friday guy says no, and then the Thursday guy gets 24 hours to think about it and decides, no, well, he just lost 2.
Yeah. Well, he probably would have lost the Thursday guy anyway at that point, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if the Thursday guy is ready to close on Thursday and he's hoping for the Friday guy, but what do they say? A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush?
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Marco on this case. I would close the deal as soon as possible, because that way you're securing a client, even if you're charging a little bit less. That's what I would do personally. And if you're really interested in moving ahead with these guys, I would be honest and say, hey, I only take one. So if you want to grab it, if you want to grab this deal, you need to do it now, because otherwise I'm talking with some other prospects. And this is like buying a used car, right? Like first come, first serve. It is what it is. Like you may like it. You may say to the vendor, hey, save it for me. But the guy that comes with the money is the guy that takes it. So it's an opportunity cost.
And just to give this a little bit more depth, and just so people know, Mohammed is new and he's trying to close clients. If money is not an issue, if you can wait them out, then by all means you go for whoever's gonna pay the most money. But I mean, if you're looking to close clients, grow your business, then go where if the Thursday thing is sure, there's no sense in letting go of a sure thing for a Friday guy that might or might not happen.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense at this point in your career. Later on, when you take whoever you feel like taking, because you like the guy, you get a good report, the money's great, whatever it is, that's different. At this point in your career, things they're a little bit different.
Yeah,
and I mean that was what I was getting at. If you make the proposal on Thursday and you don't push for a decision at that moment, if he decides and says that he wants to proceed after you've made the proposal, then like I said, that's going to be your call. I agree with both Hernan and Marco that if he accepts your proposal at that point, then you need to make the decision. And in my opinion, Muhammad, especially because unless you've got like some gut feeling about the guy that doesn't sit well with you, in which case all of what we just said is in my opinion is like, shoot for the guy on Friday instead, because I know to trust my gut. Just so you know, I've learned that over the years. If I've chased dollars from clients before, just even though I had a funny feeling that they were going to be a pain in the ass to work with, but I needed the money, so I would go ahead and proceed with the project anyways. And then it always has bit me in the ass. Like I've always ended up regretting those whenever I've ignored that gut feeling and just chased the money, I've always regretted it, and it's always ended up being a pain in the ass and not worth the trouble or the money that that came with it. So again, if it's one of those things, and that's kind of what I was getting from your question, because you said I feel like the guy on Friday is going to be the better client. So if you've got a funny gut feeling about the dude on Thursday, then you may want to try to push him off a bit. But again, it's all about what do you need in your business at this moment? Like what's the most important? What's your priority? If your priority is to get revenue in the door and the guy accepts on Thursday, then I'd take the damn proposal. You know what I mean? So it's a great question. Again, it is a tricky situation that you're going to put yourself in. I like the fact that Marco just mentioned, once you're a little bit more further along with your business, you can be more selective, right? You can wait it out on these types of things, which is why we've been telling you guys, make sure you keep your pipeline full of prospects, because that way you can be selective like that, right? But when you're first getting your business off the ground, guys, if you need revenue in the door, sometimes you got to just do it. So yeah,
we all went through this, Mohammed. So I love your hustle, man. I really do. I respect that, because you're definitely in the right path. So we've been all through this. We've had to take shitty clients, or not shitty clients, but low-paying clients initially, until you're in a position that you can afford to wait a little bit. And the gut feeling thing, oh man, that's something that I don't pay a lot of attention to. And I just had a client that cost me around 15 grand because I didn't pay attention to that gut feeling that the guy was going to be a pain in the ass. Anyways, so pay attention to that too.
Yeah. Every time I've ignored that gut feeling, man, it's always cost me time and money and just provided a lot of headache, So, by the way, guys, just so you know, well, Mohammed, you're in the mastermind, so you're going to see it anyways. But I started really prospecting again hard for Contractor Media, our contractor agency, and this week, and I've got a whole bunch of new kinds of prospecting campaigns that I'm developing this week, and we start really hard next week. And you guys in the mastermind are going to get to witness every bit of it, and I'm going to be testing multiple prospecting methods, both The mass emailing, which I have been doing for the last couple of months, our sales process sucked though. And also video lead gen system. So more the targeted prospecting approach. I'm going to be doing several tests of those over the next couple of weeks too. I've got various campaigns that I planned out this week, and I'm actually setting everything up, the infrastructure for that now. And we're going to be hitting it hard next week. So you guys in the mastermind will get to see all that. Those of you that aren't in the mastermind, now would be a really good time to join. So